You know, the thing about COVID is everything that you try to do right goes wrong. Right? It's 10 times as complicated, and there's always somebody's Zoom feed who's not working. But the thing is that one of the things that we teach in our tradition is that for a human being, it's frustrating. It's considered ganai. It's considered shameful to work with things that are broken. But God only uses broken vessels. We're in a moment of such profound brokenness right now that I want to talk about how actually we inhabit that brokenness and ultimately find our way to patching the pieces back together. And so what I want to do is take you back, way back to the mountain, back to Sinai, back to the mountain where all the people stood and they heard the voice come out of the heavens as if it were possible, speaking the words that split their eardrums. And Moses goes up to the mountains and he's there for 40 days and 40 nights, which is the moment that everything breaks. 40 days and 40 nights, the people there start to worry. He hasn't said when he's coming down. And after they start to worry, they start to get anxious. And after they start to get anxious, they start to utz. And after they start to ush, they start to get Jewish. And what they do is they sort of jump in and try to fix it the best they can, and everything goes wrong. They find this statue of a cow, if you can believe it, and they cover it in gold. And they say, Ela Elokecha Yisrael, this is your God, Israel. And then they have a huge party. And Moses comes down from the mountain, and in his hands, he's got the 2 tablets, right? You know what I'm talking about? Charlton Heston, that dated a bunch of people in the room. He's got the 2 tablets in his hand, and he sees what's going on. He sees how quickly it got broken. And he takes these tablets, and the Torah says about the tablets that the material was the material of God, and the writing was the writing of the divine, and he takes them and he smashes them against the mountain into small fragments. And that feels to me like the moment we're in right now. This is such a broken moment. And in particular, what's paining my heart this Kol Nidre, this Yom Kippur, is it feels to me like the truth, a sense of truth, the inviolateness of the truth, is lying broken on the floor in front of us. It isn't just the pandemic, right? It isn't just the racial explosions of tension for the death of so many, right? It isn't just the pain in the last year or two of seeing Jews being targeted. It isn't just watching mountains burn, right, in California and Oregon, and in millions of acres burn in Australia, right? It's the idea that you can't say something that you know to be true without having validated. And the thing that hurts me the most, and that may actually make some of us the most demoralized, is it isn't just us posting on Facebook, right, and getting the responses and getting into it. It's that there are certain people in our world who are standing up on behalf of the truth, witnesses, testifying to the truth. This is what happened. Children are in cages. There are forced surgeries going on in ICE camps. This is what happened. And not only are their words not acted on, and not only does the truth, the exposure of the truth, do what it should, which is to ring like a bell and affect change, these days, to give testimony, to promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, isn't a reckoning for the people that you're testifying about. It's a hard reckoning for yourself. Christine Blasey Ford, remember that a couple of years ago, has moved 4 times since she testified before the Senate because of the death threats. Journalist friends of mine get them every day. Our beloved Dahlia Lithwick, member of Rome in Brooklyn, has been getting crazy emails accusing her, if I'm not mistaken, of like subverting the system. Why? Because she's Canadian. Things have gone off the rails. And so I'm looking at these broken fragments that we have in front of us, and I'm wondering, how do we patch them back up together again? Because I believe deep in my soul that something as divine as the truth can always be repaired. And so in this moment of lowness that I feel, that you may feel, what I want to do is to start to look up again. As hard as things are right now, I refuse to take my eyesights off the Most High. And so the question that I have before you, the thing that I want you to lean in to listen to, the reason why I think that what I have to say is worth your time tonight, is because I think that there is a way that maybe not right now, maybe not in a month, but inevitably, inexorably, we will patch the truth back together again and restore it to its glory, to its grandeur. In order to do that, I need to delve into the Hebrew with you. So I want to teach you a Hebrew word, if you don't mind. That word is ed, which means witness. Not Ed sitting in the back of the shul. God, that was such a rabbi joke. I apologize, really. But ed meaning witness. And ed comes from the word, the Hebrew word, od, meaning more. Again, a second time. And the reason I'm making this connection between the word ed, witness, and the word od, more, is because one of the things that the Torah teaches us by the connection of those two words is that being a bystander does not make you a witness. It isn't enough to be there. A person has to have the courage to share their experience in order to be counted among the witnesses. And the reason that Moshe drops the tablets, the reason that he is heartbroken when he comes down from the mountain, is what he sees is a nation that has turned its back on its potential to stand as witnesses to the truth of Sinai. It isn't that anyone would have denied that it would happen, but by choosing the golden calf over the truth at Sinai, what they're saying is that Sinai didn't matter. They refuse to bear witness, give testimony to what we as a people had experienced. And let me tell you this unequivocally, God is not in the bystander business. I don't know a lot about God, but I know a few things about God. And God is not in the bystander business. God is in the witness business. The whole idea is what we see, what we hear, what we feel, who we are, that we pass that truth from ourselves forward in the generations. That's why we're always saying, Ledor Vador. Edai, says Hashem, you are my witnesses. The reason that we stood at Sinai in the first place was not merely to be wowed by a particularly impressive fireworks show, is that we could be imbued with a certain kind of spiritual truth that when our children raised up, we would say, we were at Sinai and this is what we heard. A voice that frees from oppression. A voice that breaks the chains of inequity. A voice that speaks justice, and you should speak justice to your children. Generation after generation after generation, that has been who we are. The people that bear witness to the truth. I see, by the way, the truth of the ark is open behind me. There's a little rabbi faux pas, so I'm going to go close it for a moment. I'm hoping my sermon's good, but I know it's not that good. And what Moses saw was a people who had turned their back on that possibility, the chance to pass a truth forward. Chazan Basi and I were learning this before, and she was reminding me that there's a story when Moshe is directing a battle against a nation called Amalek that was trying to commit a genocide against Israel, and the battle only went in our favor when he had his hands held high, and eventually what happens is that two people stand beside him to hold his hands up. And all that I can imagine in this moment as Moshe's hands actually fall down and the tablets as fall out of him is that While the reason he's heartbroken is he's saying, where is my community? Where are my people? Who will hold up the truth with me? Because there's another word that I need to throw into the mix tonight, something that is connected. Remember I mentioned the word ode, and I mentioned the word aid? Well, there's another word that's connected to ode, the word meaning more, and that's edah. The word for community in biblical Hebrew, because it means more than one. What Moshe lost when he saw the golden calf was his sense of edah, the people who would hold the truth with him. There is a lot of ink spilled on why Moshe smashes the tablets, why he lets them go. In the Talmud it says, by the way, that God whispers in his ear, drop them. And there's a very great rabbi who actually teaches us a huge insight that I really want you to pay attention to. He's extremely recent and someone that I think that you should really know about. His name is Mel Brooks. And when he had the History of the World Part 1, where he has Moses coming down from the mountain with the 3 tablets, right, the 15 commandments, if you haven't seen this, after Yom Kippur, literally, I mean, I see kids' faces who haven't seen it right now. I want you to go watch it immediately. He comes down with 15 tablets, and he says, God presents to me these 15, and then one of them falls, right? 10 commandments. But what if there's a deep truth there? Which is that the truth is too deep to be held by one person alone. It's too heavy. What we need when we talk about being an ed is an edah. What we need to bear the truth is an entire community. And maybe there was a great wisdom for Moshe splashing these fragments of the tablets in front of all of the people. You know, because who am I, Joe Schlepper, just a random guy to come and take the tablets from Moshe? But that little piece on the ground, I can pick it up. That fragment over here, that's not too heavy for me. That piece that rolled to my feet, I can pick it up. And the strange opportunity of this moment in which we see the truth smashed in front of us again and again and again is that we as Jews who are experts in how to remember know that if we take those pieces of truth and hold them near our hearts, there will be a moment that we can stand up again and never let the world forget what happened in the years in which we're living. And so I'm going to do something very odd, something that isn't done in Jewish services. I'm going to say a line that you've heard somewhere else. And in order to do this, we need to go to gallery view. I'd appreciate actually the spotlight to be canceled. And for those of you who are Zooming, I ask you either to raise your hands or to stand up or to raise that little hand thingy on Zoom. When it's your turn, when you feel moved. Because my friends, the thing that I have to ask right tonight is, can I get a witness? Can I get a witness to the pieces of truth that rushed past us this year so quickly that we couldn't even remember them? We just had to react in the moment. Will you pick them up and put them in your pocket with me? Will you guard them near your heart? It's not your obligation to remember the whole truth, but I'm asking everybody online right now, will you hold a holy fragment of the truth of this crazy time so that as an edah, we have the whole picture? And so I'm asking, please raise your hand. Stand up in your seats. Make little Zoom emojis. Who remembers the wildfires in Australia earlier this year? And who will keep the memory of them so that we can change climate change for the good? Who remembers the fact that at the beginning of this year, we were protesting because there were children as young as 3, as young as 2, separated from their families? Who will keep that memory for when it's time for justice to come? Who will remember that the Supreme Court actually, for good this year, extended equal opportunity to people who are gay, people who are lesbian, people who are trans, made sure that people of all sort of gender orientation and sexual orientations were protected under the law? Who will hold the memories, the fragments, the terrible fragments of watching black people shot or killed or strangled by the police or others simply for the crime of walking down the street? Who will hold the fragment of impeachment and what that was like for us, for a country? Who will remember the whistleblowers? And who will put into our chat right now all the things that you commit to remembering for this year? I know that it doesn't feel like much right now. But if the community of memory can commit to remembering, if the community of the Jewish people can commit to keeping those holy fragments close, your fragment will join mine. Mine will join hers. Hers will join theirs. And when righteousness flows like a mighty stream again, what we will see are 2 tablets, whole and beautiful, with divine writing on them, reminding us, testifying to us the truth that we made sure was never forgotten. Let's all be written in that book this year. Shana Tova. Gamar Chatima Tova.